"You did what?" Catherine Cross asked. "I did it," Elise Stone replied. "I gave myself to Luther McGrath. I ain't no virgin no more." "Why'd you do that?" "'Cause I wanted to. He says it ain't no big thing. He says that men and dogs don't have no inhibitions about sex, and women shouldn't neither." "In a what?" "Yeah, you know, thinking it's all dirty and bad. It's a natural thing, he says." "My daddy says he's the devil, or working with the devil," Catherine says, "and Mama said I better stay away from him." "He ain't no devil. He's just a man," Elise said, laughing. "I saw him naked, and he ain't got no tail, no horns, or nothing." "Nothing?" Catherine giggled. "Oh, he's got that." How was it?" Catherine asked. "Did it hurt?" "Hurt something fierce at first," Elise said. "But then, I don't know, it felt pretty good. I liked it. He said there at the end I was moving like a woman with experience." "Elise, no!" "Well, that's what he said." Catherine snickered into her hand, her eyes straying across the dusty street to the lumber mill where her father worked. She kept walking without saying anything until they were past the mill and almost out of the little town of Conemaugh, Oklahoma. "My daddy'd skin me alive if he knew I was talking to you about that kind of stuff," she said. "He'd call you a whore, Elise. Lots of folks would if they knew." "I ain't no whore," Elise said. "I just done what's natural, like a horse or a chicken or a dog would, like Luther said." "We ain't animals, Elise. People are supposed to get married before they do that." "That ain't what Luther said. He said marriage was just something people made up to pretend we was civilized." "Don't you want to be civilized?" "Not especially. It was fun. The second time we did it he was growling, and I swear I was screaming like a demon from hell, 'cause it felt so good." "The second time? You mean you done it with him more than once?" "Course I did. We've been meeting down at the creek regular just about every evening." "Aren't you worried you'll get pregnant?" "If and I do, I reckon we'll just get married real quick so people won't know." "They'll know, Elise. Old Miss Collins'll count the days from your wedding until the baby's born, and she'll go straight to the newspaper." "Let her. I won't even care. I gotta go, Catherine. Mama wants this flour to make biscuits for supper." "Okay, Elise. I'll see you later." Catherine stood quietly as Elise started up that lane that would lead her home. "Elise," she called. When her friend turned around, Catherine said, "You be careful." Elise only laughed and skipped away, the basket holding the supplies she'd bought at the general store bouncing heavily at her hip. Catherine continued west, then turned south at the cemetery, following the county road that divided Seminole and Pottawatomie counties until she came to the gate of her own home. She was 18 years old and had been born in the home she shared with her parents. As she opened the gate and walked up the path to her front door, she studied their little home, made with lumber John Cross had milled, and wondered what it would be like to live in one of the big cities she'd heard about, maybe Kansas City, or Denver, or even New York City. Two of her father's 3 coonhounds raised their heads to look at Catherine as she came up the 3 steps to the porch of her house. The third only raised an eyebrow as he opened an eye, and then closed it and resumed his late summer nap. The other 2 hounds lowered their heads. One, the female Catherine had named Bonnie, thumped her tail a couple of times, as if to say she wouldn't be opposed to the human's attention, but it didn't really matter. "Not now, girl," Catherine said. She pulled the screen door open and went inside to the smell of beef cooking in the great iron stove her father had bought from a store in Oklahoma City 2 years ago. Catherine remembered how proud her mother had been to have that hulking blue and silver stove squatting in her kitchen, having been forced to do most of the cooking over a fire hearth for so many years. "That you, Catherine?" Mary Cross called from the kitchen. "Yes, Mama." Catherine went to the kitchen and plopped her sack of cornmeal onto the table. "Thank you, dear. Did you have a nice walk?" "Yes, I met Elise in town, and we walked home together."